Welcome to Heal With Us, where we aim to inspire, strengthen, and empower.
Now let's begin to heal.
Hey y'all, I'm Toya, and I'll be investigating the business of everyday people like you and I. This is Dr. Nikkisha. She'll be checking in on your heart, and that's Toya. She'll be allowing you to contact you and you know she's just gonna be up there. Now that you met us, let's get into business.
In your business.
All right, so I wanted to talk about turning some of our rough trials into triumphs during the course of life, because I feel like it. Can you remember a time when you went through something and you were just like, why? Just why? That turned into a, well, oh, if I can go through that, then I wouldn't have got to this point. And you can give you more specific moments, times, and like that. You go die.
I'm trying to think of something. Life is there's always something. But honestly, I think, and we kind of mentioned this I mentioned this in episode 4 about cheating yourself. Like not going to the school that was my grades. At the time I thought, oh, I'm making a huge mistake, I'm gonna miss out on so much. And then I had my firstborn at the time too, so it kind of compounded because it wasn't like, oh, you can just get up and just do whatever you want, there were narrow limitations. So I think that for me, at first I thought I really did miss out on something amazing, but now looking back, it's like I still ended up going to school, went to a wonderful, historically black college, and getting my bachelor's and moving on to other things. But it was like almost like it was meant for me not to go, if that makes any sense. Yes, I took the scenic route. Yes, so it was meant for me not to, actually move out of state because I was staying home. I had family that was supporting me, was helping me with my son so that I could work and go to school and do the things I needed to do. So, but at the time, it did feel like, like, oh man, like kind of like a disappointment in yourself, like, why didn't I try, But at the end of the day, it wasn't about going away, I guess that might work for some people, but for me, actually staying home and getting my college education worked out. And I feel like if I win, I don't know if I would finish, who knows, because there's so many distractions and things, so I feel like my focus was very, centered because number one, I'm a mom, number two, I gotta do this for him and I have family. I don't have time to party and all this other foolishness. I hate getting out to work, so yeah. So.
Can you repeat the question? So do you remember some trial or like moment in life that you thought my life is over, but really it ended up turning into a triumph, like something great came from it? Wow. I don't know. Really, seriously, like I have no clue how to answer this. Because I don't want to give like the typical, oh, I was a young mom. I don't want to go there.
Somebody might want to hear that.
But I've said it more than once.
Right, but I don't know if you talked about how it turned out for how you made, the women's employment, so to speak. You talked about the struggles of that, but you never really talked about, the blessings that came out of it, besides your son and himself,
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can go that route. He was very premature. He was a micro preemie. And to hear the doctor say, oh, he's not going to do this, he's not going to walk, he's not going to talk, he's not going to be able to see, just all these things that man can say, but God said otherwise. To see him now, you would not even know that he was born and the way he was born and went through all the things that he went through. So I guess that's a triumph that he's living a normal, healthy life compared to the beginning part of it and it being so hard. And me not really having a support system, kind of doing it on my own, staying at the hospitals on the weekends with him, just, and for him to get sick, like the winter time, he hated to see come because his immune system was so weak that any whiff of cold air and he's sick. So it was the first, I would say the first maybe 4 years of his life was rough. It was rough. And as he started to get older, other things started to present themselves. But I would say that would be my trial to triumph, is that you look at him now, and even all that he's been through, all the pain. I mean, he had a collapsed lung. This kid went through a lot. But you meet him and talk to him, he's the happiest person. Like I don't know if you ever met someone and they've just been through so much in their lives that they carried that burden that it kind of made them appeal like just a sourpuss.
Right, yeah.
But with him, when he's always smiling, he's just a happy individual.
Yeah.
So,
and I think I would like to know how that impacted you and his relationship, because it's funny. I mean, I wasn't micro preemie, but I was a preemie. I was born like a month early. And my mom talks about just like some of the stuff she had to go through with me, and and I think it impacted our relationship a little bit, because I felt like in a lot of ways, I mean, I was the second to the oldest of 9 as well, so that may have something to do with it. But to me, she was very hard on me in some ways, and we had this conversation, and I think a lot of us was because of hearing that, oh, she won't be able to do this or she won't be able to do that. So it was like, no, I got to push her so that she does. But it kind of backfired in some ways for me, because it made me become a perfectionist. Like, oh, I have to do this perfectly. I have to do that because, because of our dynamics and her kind of relating to me out of fear, if that makes sense. So how do you think that kind of, just the fact that he was born with all those special needs and, struggles, that it kind of impacted how you related to him and your relationship now?
Well, I was premature as well. I wasn't as premature as he was. He was 3 months premature, so he only weighed 1 pound 7 ounces. And he, as every child that goes through their teenage years, he started to do things that wasn't good for his body. And I always would show him the pictures of him. I have one where he was in the incubator and he was so little and tubes everywhere. And I remember the first time I showed it, it kind of made him uncomfortable. And I always asked him to tell me how you feel about it. What are you feeling right now? And he just had so many questions, like why? Like, he had certain scars from things that happened. And I remember he was little and his friends, you know how little boys take the shirt off and play outside. He didn't want to do that because he had so many scars, and kids would ask him. He also had a feeding tube, so he has a big, huge scar from that. And so he's like, why do I always have to explain? Why can't they just look at it and not ask me? Like, so it had gotten to the point where we kind of stopped talking about it. But then as he got older and he started to do things that just wasn't, I had to kind of remind him, like, look, I would show him like little videos of other preemies that were about his age. This is what your body went through. Like, truly, your body is a temple, and you need to, take care of it. But I think, as far as like a bond between us, if I get sick or he gets sick, we really kind of, we always was kind of there by each other. Like if I was sick, I remember hearing him being young and I would get a cold or something and just be in the bed. And he would just sit there. He would not move. And I'm like, I'm okay. And it was an unspeakable type of thing. He just wasn't, he didn't want to move. He would go get his cup and he'd come right back. He would go use the bathroom and he'd come right back. So.
But he was probably mimicking what you do to him.
Probably. Yeah. So I think it's an unspeakable type of bond, because he doesn't like to talk about it. He doesn't, I don't want to say he doesn't want to know, but it just really makes him feel uncomfortable. To know that not only that I had to endure that, but he had to as well.
I want to speak to you, because it was amazing. Like, the age you were and the things you did at that age. First of all, whatever they said he wasn't gonna do, you already were like, what do I need to do so he can do it? And then, us cute little new mamas got our little diaper bag, the baby bottle, the diapers. You had oxygen tank, like all the yes. You had the whole setup, but it did not stop you. You would come visit, set up everything you needed to.
Yep.
I think play his little swing up, like you had it down. Like, I mean, you didn't, you made it look easy. We know it wasn't, but it did not stop you. It did not slow you down. So,
And I took that approach because I didn't want him to, as he got older and started to understand and see, because he was on oxygen for a while. He had that feeding tube way after he started walking. So it got to the point where I even involved him with the hookups. Like, oh, I got it. It's time, so I wanted him to know that no matter what is connected to your body and what you have to pull along with you, don't let that ever stop you. Let that give you motivation and determination. And that's kind of the stance that I took. I can't let this child see that this is tearing me up inside. I have to be strong and put on a safe face. But trust me, I was going in the bathroom, shutting the door and crying. Because it's like, why does this poor innocent child have to go through this? So yeah.
But you did all something.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
My hero.
Yes. Thank you. And I think for me with this question, I just keep like leveling up on it. So, like, when you're little, it's like I failed a test. So you feel like my life is over. I'm never going to get into college. I'm never, like, you do that head game with yourself. So you are now like better at studying. So you turn that into like your own little victory. Like now I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna get an A on all these tests. Going forward. Or you pick the wrong mate, and then it's like, well, I thought that was gonna be forever, and it's now what do I do? And then you're like, oh, that was not even. Why was I even doing that? Because now, So I think every like the small things, all to me, I appreciate and turn into those triumphs because everything we go through is for a reason. So I think I tried. It's really hard, but I try to look at everything like bad stuff as okay. All right, so can't get no worse than this. So it's up from here, So I try to just look at all the trials now that I'm older. Like, okay, I'm gonna be real strong when I come out of this.
And that's a good way to look at it. Never really thought about it that way.
Like, he gave me tough for something. Like, so,
I just kind of figured my childhood and all that I went through, I had no choice but to be tough. And sometimes I do want to be soft, but I don't know how because I've been fighting all my life. And it's like, I thought, oh, once the kid gets an adult, I can relax and start working on being soft. No, it didn't happen that way. So, eventually, maybe sometime it'll happen for me. Where I can just kind of let go and know that I don't have to fight as hard anymore. Because it's instilled in me that brace yourself, something's gonna happen. Brace yourself, something's gonna happen. Everything it ain't gonna be going smooth for too long. You don't get it like that. You don't get those sprinkles of glitter all the time. So prepare yourself. And I gotta realize those things sometimes happen to make you stronger or to get you to the next point or to make you see something.
Yeah, but the fact that you say that, I'm the same way. Like when stuff is smooth and happy, it's scary to me because it's like, what's about to happen?
I've had so much trauma. And so much things that just happen that I can't live in that happy moment.
I'm the same way. Like what's around the corner. But definitely.
I mean, and my question was going to be like, what have y'all learned about yourself through your trials? And one thing for certain, like, I don't think I am in a space where like I expect or look for I'm on the opposite. I'm like, oh no, I am a child of God. So that means I get to have a perfect life. No, realistically, I know it's gonna be trouble, but I guess I'm looking at it like because of my faith and because of who God is, I'm gonna get through it. However, with that being said, I don't get through it always so gracefully.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes surprise myself at how strong I am, but then other times I surprise myself at, and it's funny because the situations where you think you're gonna fall out and be all the pieces, that's where I'm like, oh, I just took that like a
Yeah.
champ. But then things that are not supposed to be so life altering are life altering for me, and I'm like, why am I having such a hard time getting up and going to work? Like I'm just saying like why like you're going through your normal day and then stuff just shows up and it's not a big deal, but for some reason it's triggering. So I think that for me is scarier than anything because it's like I don't like thinking I'm okay, and then all of a sudden being triggered by something, and it's like, well, where did that trigger come from? I thought I was good. So I think out of the heart are the issues of life, like it's real. Like we have to really be constantly examining ourselves and being self-aware, but also in that being compassionate, because I think that's the thing too. Like I'm hard on myself. Like I'll be like, I shouldn't be feeling like this, or I shouldn't be thinking that, or but it's no, allow yourself to process, allow yourself to feel this way, and then figure out the why. Sit down and figure out what's really going on. Why did that trigger you? What is that bringing you back? And like you said, a lot of it is the trauma, that we've experienced, in our life that we thought was okay, we're healed, we're good, and no, your soul is like, no, it still hurts in this spot right here. Let's deal with this spot. Some things just feel like it just, like, don't touch that.
Yeah.
But God is like, no, I need to touch that because it needs to be healed and taken care of.
Yeah.
So I know that our trials are, for me, it strengthens my faith, helps me to remember who to focus on.
Yeah.
Because we're going to always like, we're earth, this is earth, people are sinful, people are, it is what it is. How am I going to get through this? Keeping my eyes on Him and trying to focus on, like y'all said, being in the moment, enjoying the blessings around me, because tomorrow is not promised, and I don't want to get hung up on something and then lose track of time, lose that space with my, kids or my husband that I can't get back. So that's my focus, is to just, allow God to develop me and use what they say, all things work for the good. So if you love the Lord and are called according to His purpose, so allowing Him to use the bad season for my good.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So like, what do you feel like your trials in life have taught you about yourself?
That I'm a crybaby through and through.
Okay, yeah. I can have that moment too.
Yeah, and it's okay. Because that's just how I deal with it. And if I try to be anything else, then it just turns into something ugly.
Right.
So just let me be the crybaby that I am, and everything's fine.
Yeah. I love it. But I think one thing I will say, being that we have grown up together, although you're a crybaby, it used to be I'm crying because I can't get my way. That was, you already know.
Yeah.
And I think all of us do that.
I took it. It was kind of that, but I also took it as she cried because nobody understood her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably true too, because I'm big sister, so I know everything, and I really don't. So I think that's smart. That's very insightful.
Yeah, I always thought that when we were little, like she cries because people don't understand, and at the time she was the baby.
Yeah.
And so the babies always feel like, don't nobody understand. So
and that's true. And I
I'm
think
still the baby.
Yeah. Denial, and that was about 4 or 5 kids running her down. Well, I feel like you kind of I can kind of appreciate it, it got on my nerves, because a lot of times, like you said, we feel like we got to shove stuff down. And you never were one to shove stuff down. It's like, I'm sad, I'm feeling this way, I'm gonna cry. Now sometimes it was a little, we gotta have balance. But I feel like now it's funny because it's like I'll find myself crying because I can't get my way. And then I'm like grateful that God didn't let me get my way because it would have turned out disastrous. So it's like I'm learning that okay, have your little temper tantrum, but then recognize okay, is this really what you need? Is this really something you need? And I feel like you got to that point where now it's like okay, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna have an attitude, I'm gonna do whatever, but at the end of the day, okay, now what? What do I need to do? What do I do from here? So you pick yourself up and you keep going. Yeah. So it takes a lot for you to feel to walk around with you like, what was me? You know, I see that. And if I see that, I know something really wrong. Yeah. What about you? What do you feel like you have learned about this?
Through my child, that I'm a hoarder of my feelings.
Oh.
I am very bad at suppressing and packing. Though my surroundings in my house are immaculate and they sparkle,
Yes, they do.
but inside I just got stuff piled up to here, and I'm so bad about it that I suppress to the point that I get to a breaking point and I just break down. And the people that know me and my husband are like, why do you always do that? Like, I'll ask you what's wrong. Nothing. I'm good at that. None. I'm okay. I'm good. That's not true. And I hoard my feelings.
It's because you think about other people's feelings. Like, I don't want to burden them with what I'm going through. So I'm going to just, I'm fine. Everything's great.
And that goes back to my issue of people pleasing. But I've discovered through my trials that I'm a hoarder of my feelings.
And do you also feel like it comes from unmet needs? We talked about it before too, because I noticed whether it's with the extra children, I work with, or with myself, when it comes to like being so used to your needs not being met, it's like you almost just like you said, you suppress. Like, well, there's no point in me expressing that I need this because I'm not gonna get it. And then it's like, so you just shove it down, which of course it's not. But I get that root of that. So how do you feel like you can come out of it, knowing that that's not beneficial for you and you deserve all of these things?
I don't know. Because that's always been my coping mechanism is to suppress. So I don't know.
And I don't even know how to do that. I'm like, I'm suppressing stuff sometimes, but it's like it just comes out. And it's like, hide it. Don't let anyone see. But it won't. So, just finding that healthy balance, I think, is something to be all about and equal.
We'll take any help we can get out there so people know, help us out. We want to enjoy the moment, then,
exactly. And we like in our hearts in the right way.
Anything like what?
To contribute to
Question. I want to go into the trials of being a spouse. So, I'm going to say not just like marriage, because I know, you're newly married, but the relationship. And out of that years of relationship that you've been with this person, what are some of the trials where your relationship stands now that you didn't think you were going to make it through? If you can share.
So I'm just the kids, like when one person has kids and the other person is coming in. So I think that was one that was rocky for us at first because a lot of personalities, a lot of different age groups, but at the end of the day, we were basically like, listen, this is a circle. Nobody, it's not anybody outside of it. We in a circle. So if somebody is going through something, talk about it. We would have like safe space conversations where you can say whatever you want and nobody's gonna get mad at you. At least not in your face.
Having said that, have y'all seen the little viral thing that's been going around? I think it's on Instagram where the parents film the child, they put the child in front of a mirror, and they tell the child, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'm going to walk away. I want you to look into that mirror and I want you to say whatever you want to say to get out your anger, even if you want to curse. And these little kids, they are on that camera. They are
my
effing
Oh.
shoot. And then they get scared and they look to see if the door is open. Hilarious. Just to do that experiment and to see what their minds are thinking and how they really want to express that they're upset. That I just think that's the
We need to
cutest.
do that.
Yeah.
That could be a part of our solution.
You
Not
know?
suppressing.
Yeah.
Let's get into that mirror, and no one has to be around. I think that's the problem too, the pressure of making it about somebody else when really it's just about us. So yeah, I like that idea. Yeah,
So when
use
you
that.
said face to face, that made me think of that.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I think and that helped us, but that was one that we were like, oh, how are we gonna survive it? We want to survive it, but we don't know. Yeah. So that was a tough one. Blending family.
What say you, Doc?
Ooh, that's a touchy one. So you're saying something we just overcame? I mean, we've had a lot of challenges.
That you didn't think you were gonna.
Yeah, that you did. Yeah. It was a really tough trial.
Well, I would say, I mean, I know this one knows, my husband struggled with substance abuse for many years, and it got to a point where I was like, I cannot. And there was nobody but God that brought us, reunited us, and got us on the right track, and there's been no looking back. And I know I'm grateful because everyone can't say that. You know, whether it's infidelity, adultery, whatever, a lot of people cannot say that God has healed their marriage, and for whatever reason he saw it fit to just help us overcome that. So, I mean, because it's a lot to that. That's, on so many levels, it destroys a relationship, So, I definitely did not think that it would be, that I would be able to say that, that's no longer a part of our relationship. And, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know you had a lot of prayers like outside, inside, everywhere.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you guys came over on the other side and God saw fit to have his way in that whole situation.
Yeah.
Amen. Praise the Lord. For me, I would have to say, the first 5 years of marriage was tough. It was tough. And they say statistically that the first 5 is really tough. But I would say for us, my husband is a manly man. And there's a lot of roughness and toughness with him. And you can tell that he came from that generation where the father was like, you fall down and scrape your knee, you better not cry. And so nobody's really taught how to love anyone. But I feel like when the spouse, if it's the male or the female, sees that this person doesn't know, it's up to that person to show the other person how to love you. Yeah. It's not fair for that person to have to figure it out. Yeah. Every woman doesn't like to be loved the same way. And so I quickly realized that I had to do that. I had to be kind of the teacher because it was just a rough, like rock'em sock'em type of situation. And it's like, you have to be genteel. Right. You have to be genteel and not so rough. And I'm not here to judge you. And also, and I think I said this in a previous episode, that it's not up to the other spouse, whether it's the wife or the husband, the boyfriend or the girlfriend, to make that person happy. Right. That's not their job. You have to make yourself happy. The two of you commingling together, that is what the responsibility is. But it's not your husband, your boyfriend, or whoever responsibility to see that you're happy. Because if you're not, even before the two of you got together, if you weren't happy before that, the relationship is going to struggle anyway. You have to be happy within yourself. Then that happiness kind of branches out to other areas in your life. So, for me, I would have to say that. Yeah. There was a big learning curve there. So my next question is, And let's pivot a little bit and do trials
Yeah.
in your careers. What areas that kind of brought you over? You went through that trial and you triumphed on the other
So
end.
I guess being overqualified, but being treated like you're underqualified. But you just keep like pushing and yeah.
Know how to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me it was getting out of my zone of genius. And still trying to show up knowing that I'm not in my zone of genius. And then being patient to correct because, you can't just, we're not little kids. You can't just say, oh, I quit deuces. It's like, okay, let me walk this out. Try my best to, develop the skills and things, but sometimes it's just not for you. And knowing when you're not a good fit for a certain place or a certain job is so important. So I think for me, overcoming that and recognizing, it's not about you not being good enough. It's just this is not, not for you. It's not bringing out your greatest gifts and skills and talent and passion. So being able to get through that and now being in a place where I do feel like, I'm actually nurturing my own gifts and things. And yeah, definitely a big position.
I would say for me, it would be being naive when it comes to your direct report. There's a difference between being given an assignment and doing it or just being run over by your superior. And knowing that that's what's going on, but you're too afraid to say anything because you think it's going to either jeopardize your reputation within that company or you're thinking about this person has to write my review, but wrong is wrong.
Right.
And, as being a leader, you need to know that first you need to lead with empathy and to know that people are people and they have feelings. And your team makes you who you are, so that was a struggle for me for a while. In this past position that I left for 6 years, it was just pure misery. And to also understand that there is a such thing as animosity. When you are overqualified for the position that you're in, and even when you're more educated and more experienced than your superior. So that was a tough 6 years for me. And try to figure out how am I going to continue to deal with this and just try to help this person see their errors of their ways, or am I just going to move on? Nobody and it doesn't look good on your resume or your CV to kind of job hop all the time. That's a millennial thing. No offense, the millennials, but that's what you guys do. And so that's what I was really thinking. I wanted to retire. This was and God said, well, that's what you want, but hello, I'm on the throne. I'm on the throne. You're in an office chair. So that was very tough.
Out the door.
So that's what I learned. But that's all I have. My 2 questions.
And I think I just want to conclude by saying, before you kind of touched on it, that through your trials to get to that triumph, you have to have some main pillars. And my pillar is definitely, I'm not perfect with it. I have my moments where I kind of go in a spiral down the wrong hole first, and then I got to come back up. But prayer, knowing my word, speaking my word over myself and over my situation, and community. For me, that community, family, friends, all of that.
I have to work on community.
That's my pillar, because even though, you're going through situations that might be embarrassing, that might be just heart-wrenching, but you can't do it alone. You have to, let that pride go and say, I need some logical, God-fearing people in my ear helping me through this situation.
And that's my problem. I will admit, hi, my name is Tam, I'm a nerd. I have a problem with pride and asking for help.
Okay, well, acknowledging that is the first step. So, yeah.
Well, we'll see if it goes beyond that.
We'll harass you and start making it so you can't run.
Darn,
Yeah.
why did I say anything? God.
So we gotta be on it.
Yeah.
We gotta get on it. Yeah.
Great.
And I guess for me, forgiveness would be like not the thing that keeps on, because if I held on to things that people do, or if I'm taking something away and maybe they didn't even mean it like that, and I don't forgive, it just turns like ugly, and I'm more upset they're living their life like, la la la.
Yeah.
What you say, like Pee Wee Herman riding his bike? Yeah, like, so I think I just don't hold grudges, and every day it's a new day.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's very good.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Heal With Us.
And remember, healing is a process, so take it one day at a time.
And remember that you can reach out to us. You can find us across all social media platforms. Do the three of us a favor. Check us out. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, everywhere. We're there. Our email address is healwithus3@gmail.com.
Heal with us.
Heal with